Good morning, everyone, on this somewhat unsettled weather-wise Memorial Day Sunday, but still very nice. I'm Jay Woodruff, a member of the Parish Committee. We're welcome. Glad to have you here online or in person, here in our beautiful sanctuary. A special welcome to our visitors this morning. We invite you to join us downstairs or online for community time following the service. Our mission is to build community, search for meaning, deepen our spirituality, and make a better world. If you have questions about First Parish or Unitarian Universalism, someone from our membership team will be at the welcome table downstairs during coffee to greet you and answer any questions. Today, Kate Holland, our Director of Lifespan Education, is also available after the service and would love to meet you. Our guest speaker this morning is the Reverend Wendy Page. Wendy Page, welcome. Reverend Page is a graduate of Andover Newton Theological School, where she met our own Reverend Lisa Perry Wood. She has served as a hospice chaplain in Eastern Massachusetts, and she is a per diem chaplain at Mass General Hospital. Previous to her ministry, Wendy was a software engineer and manager. As an avid cyclist, she has participated for 25 years in the annual Pan Mass Challenge fundraiser for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. She is also a quilter and a gardener, and she loves to sing. A big thanks to all of our other service participants whose names are in the order of service. Please join me now in taking a moment to say hello to one another, including a wave to the big I to those online. A heartfelt welcome to all. Let us now turn our hearts and minds to worship. To start off, please welcome our chalice lighters, the Polat family.
Are you ready? Yeah? Okay. Go ahead, come here. Come next to me. So, with open minds and loving hearts, we gather to search for meaning, to care for one another, and to work together for a better world. Can you hold this?
Good morning. My name is Wendy Page. I use she, her pronouns, and it's my pleasure and privilege to join you this Memorial Day weekend. Let us be called into worship by these good words by Michelle LaGraff. We come to religious community from many paths with diverse needs. If you have come here seeking comfort, may your pain be soothed. If you have come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you have come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. If you have come here hoping to build a new way, may the path open before you. Please rise as you're willing or able and join in singing our first hymn, Bring, O Mourn Thy Music, number 39 in the Gray Hymnal.
Good morning. I am Kate Holland. I'm the Director of Lifespan Education here at First Parish, and I use she, her pronouns. So everybody knows that I love a really good book. And so today, my Time for All Ages is inspired by a good book. So there's a book called The Memory Box, which we've read a few times in our Seek program. And the book is about a little girl whose grandmother has passed away. And so she and her mother talk, and they find a really interesting way for her to help go through the grief and remember her grandmother. And so what they do is they make a memory box. And I've made my own memory box because I thought it was such a great idea. When I was 21, my dad passed away. And so he's been so important in my life. I did my memory box for my dad. So in my memory box, there's a picture of my dad in his Navy uniform. He served in World War II, and I was always really proud of that, and I love those pictures of him. I have another picture of my dad, which I remember the way I remember him as a kid, in his favorite chair, in his pajamas, and laughing, because he laughed really, really lovely and loud. And so in the box, it talks not only about putting away things that you remember of them that they were there for, but putting away things that they may not have been there for. This is a picture of my wedding, and I really wanted my dad there that day, but this makes me feel like he was part of that moment for me. And there's actually a picture here of me at my first communion, which is pretty funny. But my dad was a devout Catholic, and so I like to think that even though I'm not still a Catholic, that he instilled in me that faith is really important. And so that's why I kind of do the thing that I do. I like to think of him being proud of that. So I also have things in my box. I have this unicorn that my dad bought me when I was in my teens, and some of you may know that when you're in teens, you kind of think that maybe your parents don't pay attention to you anymore. And it was really special when he gave this to me. I loved unicorns, and it was like, wow, my dad still pays attention to me, which was a really special thing. I have a beloved stuffed animal that my dad had given to me. And my dad worked at Turner Construction Company, so I have a hard hat from that. It doesn't fit in my memory box, but it fits in the dress-up clothes downstairs at First Parish, which makes me think of him when we use them. And I have a jar of seashells, because my dad took me to the beach when I was a kid and bobbed me in the waves, and we looked for seashells, and he also went to stores with me and bought seashells because the really cool ones were hard to find. So I love this because there's also things in here that are my dad that I can't necessarily put into a box. So some of you may have noticed I have a big laugh, and I also have a really big voice. And so my dad did too, and so that's something that I carry every day with me that he's given me. And I see it in my children too. Somebody noticed that they knew my daughter Jocelyn was in our sanctuary because she laughed, and her laugh was just like mine. And so there's also things that I think are part of my children's life, like I said, that are part of my dad's gift to them. And even though he never knew my children, and I wished he had, I wished he had been here with them to be their grandfather, and not just in spirit, but they carry things with them too. They also love the beach, which was something that my dad instilled in me, and they all have my sense of humor, sadly, or not sadly, which comes from my dad, because I love a really good dad joke or a really good pun, and that was my dad too. So I think the thing that I remember, it's that the person, when they die, they're not gone, that they are part of our lives, and they leave us gifts, whether there's something that you can see, like the photographs of them, or the things that you've been through that you want them to be there, but they are always there with us. And I think that's the way that people are honored once they pass along. So you're welcome to come up and look through my memory box. And I put the book, the memory box, right next to it on the pew, so that if you want to look at that too, it's a great book for anybody of any age who's dealing with grief. So I'm going to invite my friends who are going to our Seek program to come on downstairs with us. And I'm going to invite all of you to sing us out with Gaudiamus Odie. Thank you.
Good morning. The offering we give each week is a symbol of our commitment to this faith community and to the life and works of our congregation. us. Instructions on how to donate online are in the order of service. If you are here for the first time, please let the plate pass you by. You are our guest. We receive your generosity with gratitude and appreciation of all that sustains us. Your gifts maintain the strength of this community and all it does within these walls, as well as the work we do together to make a better world. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. Good morning again. I'm Ted Barnes. My pronouns are he, his, him. I'm a lay minister of this congregation. This is the time in our service we set aside to acknowledge the joys and sorrows that we hold. In both our sharing and our witness, we affirm our covenant to care for one another. As we face the uncertainty of the road ahead in our country and our world, we light our vigil candle in solidarity with all those who are living in fear. We offer our deep love for all beings. Remember that justice is what love looks like in public. May the love which abides in our community offer hope, strength, and peace in the days to come. If you have a personal joy and or sorrow you would like to share, please feel free to come forward now or raise your hand and I'll bring the mic to you. Those online can type out your joys or sorrows in a chat and I will read them. Let us hold each other in a circle of care with a moment of silence. Blessed be.
Please join me in a spirit of meditation and prayer Settle yourself, put your feet on the ground. Feel the weight of your body. Breathe in, breathe out. Spirit of light and love, mystery of many names and no name, be with us today. Let us breathe in your calm and peace. We give thanks for the life of spring bursting around us, the myriad greens, the scent of flowers, the glorious colors. In this unsettled time, help us to take a moment to see the beauty around us and say thank you for beauty, for our loved ones, for being alive this day, for the simple joys of life. Give us the strength and courage to stand up for what is right and just, and to give aid to those more vulnerable than we, especially trans folk, those who are in transition and undocumented, those with darker skin, those dependent on government services that are disappearing. Help us to be brave even as we are heartsick, scared, and depressed about the state of our world and country. Be with those in places around the world in active conflict. The Ukraine, Gaza, Myanmar, the Sudan, and other places. May they be safe and comforted. This Memorial Day weekend, let us remember with gratitude those who have lost their lives in previous struggles to preserve our way of life, fragile and imperfect as it is. Companion us in our days and show us the way to companion others, to have open eyes and ears and hearts to the needs of others. Help us to be your helping hands doing good in this world. Amen. Please join in singing while seated hymn number 101 in your gray hymnal, Abide with Me. Choir, thank you. That was beautiful. On a warm June day, a 58-year-old man with 2 young children back at home went for a walk through the woods. He had abdominal pain, but did not realize he was experiencing a pancreatic aneurysm. His wife, Barbara, helped him stagger back to their house, called for an ambulance, and insisted that he go to the hospital even though he said he felt better. They were living at the tip of Cape Cod, and it took almost an hour to ride to the Hyannis Hospital. On the way, the medics gave him IVs. At the hospital, he got an emergency CAT scan and went into the operating room. There were 2 surgeons on duty that day at the hospital, and they realized he was the sickest person in the hospital that day, so they both worked on the patient. They knew he was bleeding massively into his abdomen, but where? As the surgeons struggled to figure out how to stop the blood flow, the patient was in and out of consciousness. He saw his father, who had died 8 years before, hovering above him and saying to him, "It's okay. There's nothing to be scared of. Don't fight it. I'll take care of you." That patient was Sebastian Junger, the author of A Perfect Storm. He lived through his near-death experience and wrote a book about the ordeal called In My Time of Dying, How I Came Face to Face with the Idea of an Afterlife. We are all going to die. Every single one of us here in this service today and at home will no longer be alive in 100 years. Most of us will die much earlier than that. That's the hard truth. But the opposite of that truth is we are all alive today. There are adventures to experience, meals with loved ones to savor, conversations to share, time in nature to relax. We can appreciate living. That is the gift of our mortality, realizing that time and connection and conversations and experiences are finite and precious. I've spent the past decade training to be and working as a hospital and hospice chaplain. I've been privileged to accompany people in some of the hardest moments of their lives, and I have learned much from them. Facing death and losing someone you love is hard, but denying it is harder. There's more fear, more pain, and less control. Embracing mortality can be empowering. It gives the opportunity to deepen the connections with those you love. It provides an opening for meaningful conversations, diminishes worries because what needs to be done and said has happened. Fear quiets, and there can be acknowledgement of the joys and gifts of life. This is not easy work, but it is transformative. Death, like other big transitions in life, is a pivotal time for families. There can be great ruptures. There can also be profound coming together as relationships are mended and connections deepen. I remember a first conversation with an elderly patient. She described her large family. She had many children who were close by, visiting and helping her. But she and her eldest daughter were estranged. Years before, when my patient's husband had been ill for an extended period of time, Her teenage daughter had been given responsibility for a lot of the household activities, including taking care of her younger siblings. She and her mother had had a difficult relationship since then. My patient expressed great regret as I quietly listened. In the next weeks, she reached out to her daughter and they reconnected. There was great relief among the other children that their older sister and mother were reconciled. As a chaplain, I had sat quietly while she told her story. That's all I did. And in the telling, she was motivated to reach out to her daughter. That reconnection brought comfort for both of them. However, sometimes families protecting one another can prevent communication. Patients don't want to hurt loved ones by admitting they're going to die. Family members are afraid to hurt patients by talking about the death. In this case, a caring outsider, such as a hospice nurse or social worker or chaplain, can listen to the hard thoughts that are on a patient or family member's heart. This can embolden individuals to look for opportunities for future conversations with loved ones. Our Western culture does not prepare us to welcome death as part of our lived experience. It's hidden away, where previous generations would have tended their dying loved ones at home and laid out the body after death in the parlor for the funeral and wake. Death now most often happens in hospitals, nursing homes, or other institutions which are removed from daily life. Children, especially, are shielded from the realities of dying as part of life. No wonder we're in denial about our mortality. It takes work to swim against the tide of our culture. As an individual is nearing the end of their life, they may be in denial and find it difficult to have conversations or prepare a will, decide on burial logistics, among other things. And they don't want to hurt or upset their family or loved ones who may feel they are giving up. Family members, in turn, don't want to upset the patient by talking about death. Or there may be a family member praying for a miracle, not wanting to face what is happening. And the third group who can be in denial are medical professionals, especially doctors, who have been trained to see death as the enemy and a failure. Medical training is slowly changing, especially in the specialties of palliative care and hospice. But we still find in the system of people around a person nearing death, there are many possibilities for denial to enter the room. I am often asked what the job of a chaplain entails. There's the religious component, which is what people usually understand. When I meet with someone, I explore their religious roots and practices. Are they connected to a religious community? Is prayer welcome? Being a Unitarian Universalist is great training for chaplaincy because we hold a wide net for different beliefs and can meet people where they are. But a bigger part of a chaplain's job is to provide a non-anxious presence and to listen to what is on the mind and heart of the patient or family member. This can take the form of what we call a life review. In an early conversation, a chaplain can ask about a patient's life, childhood, family, accomplishments. Patients want to know that their life made a difference. Regrets and unfinished business can also surface. One of the most important tasks of the palliative care or hospice team is to make sure the patient is not in pain. Doctors and nurses address physical pain, nausea, and other discomfort, often managing the line between comfort and alertness. But chaplains have a role in addressing spiritual pain and can facilitate important things that are left undone or left to be done. The chaplain queries gently about unfinished business, confessions that need to happen, relationships they want to repair, last conversations, legacy and gifts they want to give. One patient wanted to leave gifts for each of her children. She decided to knit a bedspread, not an Afghan, a bedspread for her daughter after she was told chemo was no longer effective. Her decision on which white yarn to buy was totally determined by how soon she could get it to start knitting. Chaplains can help facilitate conversations around funeral and burial wishes. I once sat with a woman and had a conversation about her memorial service, where she wanted to have it, whom she wanted to officiate, which hymns she wanted, whom she wanted to speak. She was Methodist, but she often attended her daughter's UU church, so it was an open question what kind of service she wanted. Her daughter quietly sat in the corner taking notes and was grateful that she and the rest of the family now knew her mother's wishes. At the end, the dying person wants to know that their loved ones will be okay. They need to hear that their family will be all right without them. Often a whispered, "We will be fine, you can go," is what the dying person needs to hear. What have I learned from doing this work? The biggest lesson is I have learned to say less and listen more. This is not an easy lesson for me. I tend to fill the silence with words when I'm nervous, and these visits and conversations with patients are not about me, but about them. I remember a particularly important conversation I had early in my training with an experienced chaplain. I had had what I thought was a particularly good hospital visit with a patient and shared my experience with the chaplain. She listened patiently to my excited retelling of the visit and all the wonderful things I had said to my patient. Then my experienced colleague gently mentioned that perhaps I might leave some silence for the patient to sort out what was important for them. The next day I returned to my patient, and in a hospital setting, that's not always a given. You might just get one opportunity to see somebody. But my patient was still there, and I returned, and the dynamic was totally different. It took silence and stillness for her to open up about her concerns. I was humbled by the experience and work to this day to speak less and listen more. I have found being present with others during the hard transitions in their lives to be life-affirming. I'm grateful when I can provide comfort. I often get to work with my elders, and that's a gift at my age. I am standing witness to the next phase of my own life whenever it comes. I'm in awe of people and families that grow closer and wiser as death approaches. Sebastian Younger survived a surgery, but questions about his experience lingered. His father was a scientist trained at MIT and an atheist. Sebastian had grown up in an unchurched home, but his experience was so vivid in the operating room that he started reaching out to others who had had near-death experiences. He then studied science, quantum physics, the Big Bang, nature of negative matter, looking for answers or at least spaces for the mystery he experienced to be held. Some of my most profound conversations about death and what happens after have been with agnostics and atheists as they explore their curiosity rather than fear about death and leaving this life. We are confronting the great unknown, the great mystery. And so in conclusion, here are some things I've gleaned from my life and my work as a chaplain. Let people know how much they mean to you. Don't put off conversations that might mend estrangements. If you have ideas about burial and memorial services, it's a huge gift to children and other loved ones to let them know. Have gratitude for the small gifts of everyday life. That particular yellow-green of trees as they bloom and their young leaves come out. Wind on your cheek, spring flowers in bloom. The sound of your family talking and laughing. The smell of fresh coffee in the morning. A good night's sleep. The absence of pain. Be aware that you are alive. Death's approach reminds us how precious life is. A hospice nurse shared with me a list of important things that people need in the end. They include, number one, the absence of physical pain. I would expand this to include emotional and spiritual pain. 2, recognition of the value of their life and the good they have done. They want to know they've made a difference. 3, assurance from those closest to them that they will be okay when the patient dies. You are fortunate to be a part of this caring community. You care for one another through the hard times. You reach out and connect to one another. You show up for memorial services. You tend for those living with fresh grief and loss. Death is with us always. The mourning and sadness when someone dies is with us. But along with the knowledge of death comes the fragile beauty and joys of being alive. Just as all of us will no longer be living in 100 years, there is the other true thing. We are all here alive today. We get to experience more life and its joys. Blessings on your journey. Amen. Please rise as you're willing and able and join in singing hymn 411, Part in Peace, in the gray hymnal. In this fragile world we live in, go forth and be present to life. Notice the joys and pain around you. Be a comfort to one another and be comforted. You are the hope and love and presence that will make a difference in the world. Go in peace.